pledge and our prayer.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for our school and our community. I pray that you especially be with the Fromater family tonight in the loss of loved ones. I also know the community accident that happened today. I just pray that you be with those families that are struggling tonight. I pray that you'll be with this meeting. I know you're here, and I know you care about this school. And I know that everyone who is here tonight cares about this school. I pray that we will make good decisions and that we'll be good listeners. In your name. Amen. All right. First on here is the approval of our agenda. You all had a chance to look at that. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next is approval of our minutes. We have our June 4th executive session, June 10th regular session, June 30th, and executive minutes from that. So you've all had a chance to review those ahead of time. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, any discussion or changes to those minutes? All in favor? Opposed? All right. Next, we're going to move on to our public comment. I know we have a little bit more than usual for that tonight. We have 5 people who have signed in to speak. Our regular policy says that we take 15 minutes and split it up among the people who want to speak. But we want to make sure that we give everyone 5 minutes to speak tonight. So to do that, as a board, we have to vote upon extending our time then by 10 minutes. So is there a motion to do that for our public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we actually will start with something that's on the agenda. I know that Jason Brune and Haley Brune have signed up to speak tonight. Again, you have 5 minutes for each of you to speak to that agenda item that's there. We do want to remind everyone that you cannot call out people. We cannot answer questions that people directly ask us. But it is a time for you to share with us what's important to you and share with the community what's important to you. So, Jason, you're welcome to start, or Haley.
So I know there's a big issue tonight, but tonight is also the night that we're talking about taking away ranking for the class of 2029 and on. So we need to talk about that tonight too. So as of the end of this school year, I had the highest GPA for my class. And I'm in the class of 2028. So even if there are changes to the current ranking system, none of them will affect me, but ranking has been important to me since I started middle school, and I think that the future classes of AC should be recognized for their hard work. So currently there's a top 10 recognition. It was middle school through high school whenever I started middle school. And then the valedictorian, salutatorian at the end of senior year got to speak at graduation. And I've known who the valedictorian, salutatorians were through my years in middle school and my freshman year. And I look up to them and their achievements. And I think it wouldn't be fair to take away the recognition because it takes more than just pure intelligence to be in the top 10. It takes constant attention in class and putting careful detail into homework and studying, and not being afraid to ask questions when we don't understand. So it's more than just being smart, it's caring about school. One of the main arguments of why we should take it away is that final GPA places can be close, and there's lots of students that get over 4.0. But ultimately, students who got in the top 10 worked just a little bit harder, and so they deserve that spot and the recognition that comes with it, even if it affects certain college scholarships that students are able to get. And so one suggestion is to add cum laude awards, which there's like certain marks of GPA, and then a whole group of students would get the awards. And I think adding that would be a good way to recognize more students. But you can have both top 10 and the cum laude system, because having a high GPA is important, but the top 10 worked extra hard. And so I think that both systems should be instated, and that the valedictorian and salutatorian should still be able to speak at graduation.
So I'll follow up with what Haley had to say. As you know, I sent an email to the board, so I'll try to highlight without rereading the entire email. The first issue with this proposed change to class ranking is that really the administration started to try to carry out this change without school board approval. The class of 2029 kids were already denied their awards at the middle school level. Policy changes this impactful must always be given adequate time for board and public consideration, which was not done. The administration is accountable to the board, and the board is accountable to the public. We all have a right to know, but the public was left in the dark, even with such a massive proposed change, something that's been going on for 60 or 70 years. I'm frustrated that this was even brought for consideration before the board, let alone while keeping the public uninformed. It's very, very disappointing. Course selection was brought up as one consideration or concern. It's up to guidance and the administration to inform the students, but it's ultimately up to the parents and the students to decide which classes are best for them. There are lots of reasons that students might pick a non-career path course, not just class rank, friends, teacher preference, classes like swing choir or band choir that they find interesting or fulfilling, even if they're not planning on going into a career in music, or something that just helps them to be a more well-rounded individual, even if it's not directly related to their career path. I took piano and golf in college. I don't do either one professionally. Just because some students are making different choices than guidance suggests does not mean that we should punish all high-achieving students by taking away their recognition. As regards the rank and how it can affect college and scholarship applications, it's unfair, as Haley touched on, to take away from those who benefit from their hard work. This is the everyone gets a trophy mentality. The top 10, and specifically the top 2, earned it, and they deserve the recognition. And also, some of the concerns, as brought up, cannot be both ways. Either class rank is required on college and scholarship forms and therefore must be calculated and reported, or colleges only look at GPA and academic resume, as was stated last board meeting. And then there would be no harm in recognizing top-ranking students. It can't be both ways. It's either going to be required to be reported, or if not required, then there's no harm in telling the students what their rank was. To draw some comparisons to athletics, we think academics deserves the same celebration level as athletics. We celebrate excellence and individual achievement and ranking in sports, so we can continue to celebrate in academics. As an example, we even have athletic scholarships for people at the top. We emphasize that with a signing ceremony here at the school. These student athletes are allowed to take full advantage of their individual achievement in athletics, and we're just asking that the same be continued for the highest academic individual achievement. If individual recognition of highest achievement is bad, then to be consistent, you would have to deny it to student athletes. And I don't think anyone here is in favor of that. Some solutions. We need to make sure that adequate weighting for GPA for advanced college and career classes is being applied. And as Haley touched on, the cum laude system can be added to the existing top 10 valedictorian and salutatorian system. North Adams has done this for years. We've been to multiple graduation ceremonies where this is done. My father, who until recently stepped out to help babysit my other child, helped add this to North Adams, and it's been very well received. So these systems are compatible. They are not mutually exclusive, as was falsely presented at the last board meeting.
1 minute, James.
Unfortunately, AC has been turning away from celebrating academic achievement for years. We've seen this with spelling bee and fifth grade graduation being minimized. When did it become socially unacceptable to excel in academics? When did it become offensive to succeed? Kids put in the hard work, determination, dedication, sacrifice, grit, and tears. They deserve to be recognized for their highest achievements. Let's continue to recognize valedictorian and salutatorian, continue to allow them to speak at graduation, continue to recognize top 10, continue to recognize class rank, and add additional recognition with the cum laude system for those who have high achievement without having the highest rankings. Let's not take the students' hard work for granted. Value the work that not only got these students to the top, but helped AC as a school maintain high achievement across the entire school system. Let's continue to recognize the highest ranking students in each class. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jason. That. Smith, please.
Please let me know when my time starts, please.
We begin.
My name is Zach Smith. I'm the father of London Smith, the student who was violently assaulted and left with a traumatic brain injury on Adams Central School's grounds. Before I speak to this board, I want to turn around and speak to the people behind me. To every parent, student, taxpayer, community member who came here tonight, thank you. You didn't just show up for my daughter. You showed up because you have concerns of your own. You showed up because you want answers. You showed up because something isn't right. But most importantly, you showed up because you believe in Adams Central. We all do. We've seen the school system at its best. We felt the pride of what it means to be a Jet. Even now, through all of this, we all believe it can be better. Because we've lived that pride before. This is why we're here. We don't want just accountability. We demand it. And as a community, we are ready to drive that change ourselves. Now to the board. When each of you stepped into your role as a school board member, you probably didn't imagine you probably imagined it would be to help kids, improve education, make your district stronger. But tonight, some of you are probably thinking, I never expected to be publicly called out. I never asked to be part of this. But you are part of it. Because the moment you accepted those seats, you became responsible. You may feel like your hands are tied. That without some agenda, or you have no real power, but that's not true. You have the power to vote. You have the duty to act. And if the issues aren't being placed in front of you, I ask each of you, when are you going to demand that it comes in front of you? Now I'm going to skip out on part because I was told I can't say names, and I'll actually take that out. But I sat down with one individual in this staff and went through for 4 hours from start to finish of my daughter's incident. Okay? I thought that person I had hope in. I thought I had a chance of having somebody in this school system care. My second encounter, absolutely the opposite. As a matter of fact, my update was, we did nothing wrong in the first day. I would like to say you probably only have 45 minutes of the first day. And I have the rest. And I have informed that individual of the rest. Now, okay. I'm going to go to your policies right now. Students referral to DCS and criminal justice, policy 5017, page 49. Fighting and assaults, fights resulting in injury or when the victim is much smaller and must be. London was injured. She was hit by a boy. It required referral. It was not. Verified. Code of Student Conduct, page 25. Serious offenses do not require progressive discipline. This was premeditated assault, but no appropriate consequences followed. Core behavioral expectations, section 6, page 26 from your own policy. Students shall not use a threatening or violence unless it's in self-defense. This was not self-defense, it was premeditated, and it was ignored. Now I want to speak on another side, for the teachers. Now, some of them have brought issues forward, but you've done nothing. You've jeopardized their jobs, making them feel unsafe if they spoke up. And that's why many stay silent, because the fear of retaliation, the fear of losing their career and doing the right thing. If Adams Central is the place where teachers are afraid to report, that's probably why our kids aren't being protected, and we're losing teachers every year. Now, I'm going to go over, I'm just telling you. Yes, training, I have a visual of your training document from the summer that you send out to every teacher. Those policies in there are not what you guys follow. Your core policies have not been followed ever. With any of the issues, they haven't. You make your teachers rehearse them every summer, but yet I don't think they get used. Now, I'll just go right to my final statement. Let me ask the community behind me.
It's 5 minutes, Zach.
Do you truly believe my daughter or any child at Adams Central is safe under this administration? Now, you're going to be served some vanilla envelopes. You had the chance to deal with one case. There is 10 plus in there of issues that were never resolved by this administration. And more coming.
So we'll have to look into that. And I assure you that we will.
We pay your salaries. We are your employers. You work for us.
Zach.
Also, let me talk about secrets.
Zach.
I know you know secrets here
Please, Zach.
in Adams Central. And I demand that the secrets come out, as the community deserves to know what you've been hiding. At this point, I am not willing to wait until you're out of school, off the school board to hear your secrets. The community demands them now. Thank you.
Standing, does that mean anything?
Keep staring. I have no reason for you to try to
Mia
intend me.
Tumbleson.
Okay, Zach.
Mia.
But you check them. It's your guy.
He's not doing anything wrong.
You're his authority.
Right.
And say it to him too. Because you will not say it to me.
Listen there.
Hello, I'm Mia Tumbleson. I'm a former graduate of Adams Central. My whole family, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, siblings, my own children, and now my own grandchildren, have went to or are currently going to Adams Central. We love this school and the values it has stood for. The motto that has been instilled into my grandchildren by the teachers and the administration regarding being a Jet, R, J, Jets work hard. E, exercise self-control. T, treat others and things with respect. S, safety first, something that's lacking in the school. Now, however, the recent violent attack on an innocent girl while sitting in class has me questioning these values, if they even truly exist at Adams Central. I ask the administration and school board members if they believe and agree with what our students are being expected to enact while being a student at Adams Central. If you agree with this and how our students are to represent AC by the JET motto, then why is this violent act against this innocent girl being swept under the rug? No one is being held accountable. A high school boy bet another boy this, $20, $20, that he wouldn't hit her. He did, and all for $20. This girl's life is forever changed. She suffered a brain injury that day that has affected her life. Daily recurrent headaches, memory loss, unable to do the things that she loves, dance, golf. Her life is limited because of this act. And nobody wants to hold this act accountable here in this school. Why are the students that done this to her still in our school? Why was the attacker still sitting by her in class? Unreal that she had to face her attacker every day as a victim. The attacker got a whopping noontime detention. All for $20. And yet our kids are expected to apply this JET motto while they're here at school. It's expected by the administration and by the school board. And yet nobody protects our kids. Would you want your own kid attacked for $20? Would you want their life changed for this? No acts of violence, talks of violence, or plans of violence should ever be tolerated at AC. It should be zero tolerance, and the student is expelled and not allowed back in this school. I worry every day when school's in session that AC will have a safe day with no violence happening to anyone. We as parents and grandparents are trusting you with our most prized possession, our children. We want them safe and to not get hurt while at school. We all know life is not perfect. Things can and do happen when it does, but when it does, I expect accountability, as does everyone else here. We want our kids protected. From the administration to the school board regarding this violent act, there needs to be no place in this school that this type of act is allowed in this school at all, period, zero tolerance. Please practice what you teach our children. J, just work hard. E, exercise self-control. T, treat others and things with respect. S, safety first, something that's sorely lacking at this school.
I did not think I'd be speaking for this many people. But just as Mrs. Frank started this meeting, she prayed. I'm gonna get choked up. That's what led me here tonight. I've been praying. When I look at this board, I see AC. From this end, I'm sorry, but to this end. Former student, parent, what I'm looking at. There's no doubt everybody in here loves this school. It's disgraceful what we're going through, especially the individuals involved. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little embarrassed at the way the public is treating the board. Maybe I'm different. I know the public's demanding results. They want answers. I get it. But I also try to look at it from your guys' shoes. All of you. I couldn't imagine sitting up there taking the heat like you're taking it. I'm glad I'm out here and I'm not up there. But I want you to know that these parents, they're hurt. I know, not all of you, but most of you, how deeply you love this school. And I would venture to say it's probably more than I do at this point.
But the future of the school, I feel like the biggest thing is trust. We've always, all my years of school, I probably could have told dang near any teacher anything I wanted, and it'd have been all right. I feel like the biggest thing that Adams Central is in fear of losing is trust to the community. And it's not your fault. I'm saying whoever's in charge. Maybe whoever's in charge has too much power. Maybe we need to put more power in your hands because we voted you guys to represent us. And that's what I'm here for. I just want to voice my opinion that Adams Central, I still believe Adams Central is in good hands with this board. I just hope and pray, and will continue to pray, that you guys can push the right buttons, get the right answers, and make Adams Central do the right thing. Thank you.
I didn't miss anyone who signed in. So you can choose to believe or not believe that every person up here does care. The countless hours that are put into this job, and I apologize because I laughed when you said salary and it wasn't at you.
It's all right. I don't take it personally.
It's at salary. It's no one up here does this. Some of us went into this job not even knowing that you had any payment at all. It's not about money. It's not about power. It's about a deep care for children. And it hurts all of us when one of ours is hurt. It really, truly does.
Then do something.
But it does have to be gone through the correct chain of command.
I get it.
And as I'm just speaking in general right now, the board members all up here, when we take our oath, the three things that we have charged to us to do are budget, hiring a superintendent, and creating policy. So from what I'm gathering tonight, the deeper dive should probably be into a discipline policy that we would actually have some control over as a board. But we do not have the control to discipline students. We don't even know what discipline procedure they're taking with students because we trust that they're being followed because that's what those people are in positions and hired to do. And we can ask questions, and that's exactly what I would do when someone calls me. I can ask questions to the correct person, but I can't solve the problem and I can't investigate it because that takes me out. That's not part of our job. It's something that I think is a misconception that we have all this control.
Do you or
And we
do
do
you
not.
do the
So-
hiring and firing?
Recommendations are made for hiring and firing.
Then you have the control.
Okay, we'll move on now. No one wants, you probably don't want to listen to many, but thank you for your comments tonight. We do appreciate it. We do take it to heart. And we'll just try to move forward in a more positive way because I think everyone here wants Adams Central to move in a positive way. Finance Board action items are next on the agenda. Approval of payment vouchers and fund reports. Everyone had those emailed to them earlier. Is there a motion to approve the payment vouchers and fund reports?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Are there any questions or clarifications on the fund reports or vouchers or anything, Dawn, you would like to add in for us? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The approval to purchase is next, and this is Mosel Manager. And Mr. Snyder, do you have anything you'd like to add about that?
We're switching vendors. It's a piece of software that we use in the technology department to manage all of our iPads and everything. We're just switching to different company. It's asking for the ability.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that contract? Second. Any discussion or questions for Greg? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of disposal, and we have some stainless steel cleaner that was in the cafeteria. We have some surplus items that are from the 400 wing project, like steel cabinets, teacher desks, things due to construction. And I don't know if Mr. McDonald is here tonight, but he is. Okay. And then we have the buyback program of the iPads, and this is something we do each year, correct, Greg? Okay. Is there a motion to approve disposal of these items? Any questions or discussion about the items that we're getting rid of? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our approval of our lunch fees, and these will stay the same. So we've got K through 12 breakfast at $1.50, K through 5 at $2.25, and 6 through 12 at $2.40. And I don't know if Jessica is here. Okay. All right, I don't think there's any more to say about that than this. Those are staying the same, but we need to approve them.
Make the motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of donation. We have backpacks for the start of the school year from Friedheim Lutheran Church. Is there a motion to approve accepting that donation? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and thank you to that church for helping some of our kids start off their year in a positive way. Next, we have approval of a contract that we get each year, Food to School Cooperative. This is our food purchasing agreement. Should have had a chance to look that over. Is there a motion to accept the contract? Any questions or discussion about that contract? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our approval of our MOUs, and this is a yearly thing we do also. This is with Bowen Health Center and Park Center, and in looking those over, I don't think I saw any differences or changes. So is there a motion to accept those?
Motion.
Second.
Any clarifications anyone wants on that or questions?
Around Bowen, I don't know if we did it to Park Center, but the superintendent previously would kind of like meet with the people before they started. Is that something that is still part of what we can ask for?
That's something I don't know if we are, I mean, I assume we would be able to continue doing that since that's the precedent that we have set with Bowen.
Okay.
So I would assume that we will continue on with that. If we find out differently, yeah, let's know that
Okay.
we can revisit it. No, I can't remember that one. All right, is there a motion to approve the MOUs?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our policy board action items, and this is our approval of textbook recommendation. And this is something we're continuing on in the elementary, so I don't think we have too much to say about it, but it's our big ideas. Okay, through that.
This is
Okay, all right, is there a motion to approve the big ideas map, K5? All in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we have approval of overnight and out-of-state trips. Our agriculture ed students have a stone lab at Ohio State University at Put-in Bay on August 26th, and I believe they did this last year. I don't know if we have anyone here from our ag department that wants to speak. But it sounds like this is a very beneficial field trip where they get to go and go to look at the stone lab and work out there. So is there a motion?
Speak to that a little bit if you want. I sit on the Ag Advisory Committee. Those kids go and learn about biology of the water, fish, microorganisms. It is a very, very well-received trip for all those kids. So, I mean, they're wanting to go on that trip, and there's not a room to take everybody else. So, very well-received trip.
All right, thank you.
it's free.
All right, is there a motion to approve the ag trip. Thank you. All right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and I hope they have a fun time. All right, we're going to move on to the approval to forego the reading of policies allowed. And we need a motion to do that. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we last time had policy 5430 on academic recognition and 5451 had their first reading at our last meeting. We had a lot of questions generated since the last meeting on those policies. Heard some more about that tonight, and we feel like we might need a little bit more time to look into that policy closer, to dig in, and think that it might be best tonight if we would, if board is in agreement, we may have maybe a motion to table that tonight as a topic, and then we can find questions or find answers to questions, and then move forward with all the knowledge that we need to make that decision. Question table.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And I'm sorry, I should have said, did anyone have any questions that they wanted to, get out there tonight, like, so that, Mrs. Ish might be able to look into it if we wanted her to?
I can speak to that. I'd like to speak to that a little bit.
Okay.
In doing it. Mr. Broom brought up a great point. I'm probably a little old-fashioned for the part of, I hate to see us get rid of something that we've done for a long, long time, and there's some opportunity for kids to work super extra hard. However, when the state of Indiana gives you something you have very limited control over, it puts us in a very tough spot from a funding standpoint and from an acceptance standpoint. These are all the diplomas that you can get as a high school student. Well, I'd love for it to be the good old days where you could just get a diploma and go to college or go get a job, whatever you wanted to do. Unfortunately, when you're in about the 6th grade, you have to decide what you want to do with your life in doing it. That makes it very tough for kids to know what they want to be outside of being a superhero. When I was in the 6th grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do and do it. I thought I was going to play professional baseball for the rest of my life because that's what I enjoyed the most in doing. So some of this, I applaud the guidance departments and Mrs. Ish to try to figure out, okay, what's best for all of our students in doing it. They don't want to leave one kid out of any opportunity to get a scholarship on anything that they possibly can. However, I would hate to see the fact that we have to get rid of class rank, valedictorian, or salutatorian with that. So I guess my challenge to them is a little bit is if there is a hybrid program out there that we can do all of those things and still get our kids into one of these diplomas that is laid upon us that we don't have a choice over, I would love for them to be able to do that in doing it. And again, I'm not opposed to change. I'm probably just a little stingent upon just automatically changing. So I guess my challenge is, if there's a way to make everybody happy, then I would love for that opportunity to make everyone happy. At least 99%. How's that? But again, thank you for the efforts and what you're doing to try to make sure that all of our kiddos get every opportunity they possibly can for any type of funding that they could possibly get. And especially for those that are not athletically, if they don't want to be that, but those that are academically. I too believe that that's very important as well. And I don't think anyone up here or our guidance counselors or our administrators think anything less, along with our coaches.
I'd like to say one thing.
Yep.
I'd like to say one other thing too. I met with Katie and Kara and Megan today. They were gracious enough to give me an hour and a half of their time just to answer some questions. And just a little bit in response, Jason, about the public. So this was presented to us in September, just in a brief kind of session during our work day. It was presented at a public board meeting in December, and it was on the front page of the paper in bold print. It was presented at the board here in June. It was presented at the 8th grade parent night in February. There was a survey that went out to staff February 28th. They had a PLC, which is a professional learning committee team that got together. This was out there. So I guess my challenge to the community, since you've challenged us, is to actually get involved too. Like, don't say, well, this wasn't presented to public. This has been done in private. Like, read the newspaper, watch the videos, come here. I mean, this is the most people I've seen ever at a board meeting. It's usually like 3 people, so like, get involved, find out what's happening. If you come to, if you came in December and you came in June, you would have heard a presentation from them. So I guess it's just kind of my challenge. I'm not saying one way or another on what direction we're going with this, but I just did want to say that it has been out there a little bit for people to see.
If I may, I guess I just suggest that some of those sources, I mean, as a busy person myself, trying to help raise 5 kids, I don't have time to go back.
I get it. I'm a busy person raising children and
Social
adults
media
too.
outreach probably needs
thank
to be emphasized over the newspaper because most parents today aren't reading it.
All right, so next on our list is the handbooks. And we have the elementary handbook. And you have given us a change sheet of things that, and I think everyone had a chance to look over those changes. Did you have anything you wanted to point out to us?
There's just 3 basic changes. The first one is we are bringing the high school cell phone policy down to the elementary. Our guidelines for elementary are that they may have cell phones, but they are to be in an off position and in their lockers throughout the full school day, but we are seeing more phones coming in, so we've brought that down just for clarification. We are adding a note, would like to add a note just stating that when issues arise at the elementary that may not be foreseen at the elementary level, we do lean into the high school, middle school handbook for consistency K-12. And also we are proposing adding a note regarding field trips that when parents want to take students from a field trip, we're following the athletic guidance where they allow students to go home, will allow students to go home with others. So that request is in there too, just to maintain consistency with prior approval of a written document before the field trip.
So as far as the elementary handbook goes, is there a motion to approve the elementary handbook?
I'll make the motion for the elementary handbook approval.
Okay. Any discussion about anything that's in there that you want to have further? One thing that I'm just going to add in, I do think that the board's going to take a closer look at the discipline policies overall, and so if we have changes, that's something that can be put into there. We do need a handbook to start our school year, but that is something that we can make those changes and we can do that at a later point. But at this point, I know the changes that you've given us, and I think everyone, I assume, is fine with those. Sounds good. So I think we can go forward with it tonight, knowing that we are going to examine that closer. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Middle school, high school handbook had quite a few changes into it, so I don't know if you want to. I don't know that you need to. Was it like 3 pages or 4? I mean, some were pretty minor, but if you want to hit the high points or things that you think would affect students directly or families directly.
So for our attendance policy, on the excused absences, we removed some of the consequences, like for any school, 3 days of risk and expulsion. It just stayed with the powers to log the parent meetings and the prosecutor and sex contacted according to the state law. When we look into just athletic changes, as far as giving athletic letter, there's going to be changes when grade checks will be done for athletics, which is a big one we want to highlight. We need work checking at the end of each quarter, or each, and then when we go to the midterm again, they think there's more opportunity to get on to team. Now, unfortunately, that also means there's more opportunity to get off. That's the bad side. But it's just a shorter amount of time the students would be off at the high school level. This is already the way it's done for middle school. We are making some changes based on the graduation requirements. We'll remove the ones that we had done, so the policy table, so we'll remove those. The 7th semester early graduates, starting with the class of 2029, they have to complete a seal before they can graduate. And same with six semester graduates and junior graduates. That's a state law too that we have to do. Students have to get a seal to graduate early. I think those are pretty much the highlights. Changes. We also have the drug testing policy. I don't know if that's something we just want to approve also until we have further discussion.
So, since this was the first time that we saw the written up drug policy, I do believe that the entire board's that. So
we'll remove page 51 change, page 70 change, and then page 76. The graduation requirements. Those are the things we didn't discuss.
So it would be like the cum laude system that it will stay how it is presently in the handbook.
We just won't make any changes to that part.
And the drug policy, that's a random drug testing policy, just so the community knows what we're looking at. Many other schools do it. It's going to be, we're looking to put that into the handbook for this upcoming school year, but we need to look at it closer. I think we need to examine that as a group together and make sure that everything is set there. Also, in light of all the discipline tonight, I'm going to say the same thing I said with the elementary, that we feel like this is definitely important enough that we need to look very closely at it and see what changes might need to be made to make things clearer and go from there. But at this point, board, as far as a motion that we would be making, it would be minus cum laude, minus the drug policy that was sent, random drug testing policy, and knowing that the discipline policies could be updated or changed, and we would just go. Anyone else have anything there?
Is there an advantage to approving this or tabling this as far as if we're gonna go back and modify it, what's the advantages of giving you an approval
The
tonight?
advantage would just be that for registration, for the next board meeting, we normally would have everybody sign the handbook as part of online registration. So if we don't have anything approved, we can't have.
I guess I'll challenge that too. If we sign a handbook that doesn't have the policies that we're gonna implement, at the beginning of the year, then it's kind of fictitious again, so.
It'll be more work because they'll have to be, things will have to be signed again. Parents will have to be informed of the changes. I think that's our only option because we're in July. And I do think that moving a handbook to like June might be a better idea for the future that we need to keep in mind. Like try to get that. I know there's so much going on during the school year, but trying to get that looked at in June so that if we are in this situation, we can have time to go through it to July and approve it so it's ready for registration. I think that would probably be best for next year. So is there a motion to approve the middle school, high school handbook? I'll make a motion. I'll support it. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Personnel board action items. These are the approval of the status quo contracts. Currently, there is not a superintendent contract. There is a principal's contract, administrator's contract, and directors. Does anyone want to speak to that, or these are just July 1 contracts?
Because there's no increases in salary or status quo.
It's all settled.
Yeah.
Okay. All
You
right.
have to do that because they're at table.
Mhm. July 1, right? Or wait, was it?
Yeah, July
Okay.
1 to June.
Okay, yes. All right. So is there a motion for the approval of the status quo contracts?
Motion. I'll second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have approval of the job description that was sent to us for kitchen manager. Motion to approve that. Any questions about the kitchen manager position job description? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have, sadly, approval of a retirement. Mrs. Carol Bowers, 37 years as a bus driver at Adams Central. I don't know if you would like to speak to that.
Sure. Carol, used to be the bus driver bus for 37 years. If you stop and think about that, well, 37 years, 180 days, thousands of trips back and forth to school and stuff. And it was always obvious to Carol that safety was her utmost thing. She did all those trips safely. A lot of years, a lot of trips.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve this resignation? All in favor? Opposed? And Carol, just that she's out there, we thank you so much for having the patience to do that job for 37 years. I think that says a lot about her and to do a good job. Next, we have resignations for Mrs. Julie Collier in special needs and Mrs. Jennifer Harshman, who is just approval of a resignation that was for food service director. Later on, we're going to revisit again as she's kitchen manager, but we needed that formal resignation from her for food service director. So we will take both of those together. Is there a motion to approve the resignations?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries, and thank you to the for the service, those ladies. I know we'll be keeping Jennifer, but thanks to Julie for her hard work in the special needs area. All right, approval to hire. We have Mr. Josh Alana in maintenance, Mrs. Amy Curry as a library assistant, Mrs. Jennifer Harshman as kitchen manager, Mrs. Hannah Lewis as an elementary special education paraprofessional, Ms. Emma Ellergene as a special needs paraprofessional in elementary, and Ms. Krista Sheets as a special ed paraprofessional. I know Todd is not here tonight. I don't know if anyone else would like to speak to any of those individuals.
We did give me some notes. He just said that Josh is a good kid, wants to learn, has worked for us for the last couple of years. So we're thankful that he wants to stay on.
Okay. Thank you, Don. All right. Is there a motion to approve these new hires?
I'll make the motion. I'll second
All in favor?
it.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries, and welcome to these individuals, and thank you for joining us to help out in these areas. Next, we need an approval to fill open positions, and this is just, Mr. Lehman, do you want to talk to this? I don't think we've in the past had this as a voting item, so you could explain.
Challenge this time of year is the next board meeting is after school starts. So we could have some staffing changes between now and then. And we need those people to start on day one. Those people will be brought to the board at our August meeting. But the kids are going to show up on the first day, and we need those people. And by allowing us to hire them, we'll have them up and ready to go and all trained, and then we will.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion for the approval to fill the open positions? Okay, any discussion or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we're going to move to our administrator reports, and we will start with our elementary.
We're, first of all, wanting to thank our summer cleaning crew. They are amazing. They move a lot of items. They clean, and they are joyful as they do it. So thank you to all of the hard work that they've put in to make our building school ready. I want to highlight a few things. Back to school night will be August 12th from 4:30 to 6:30 for K6. K6. To come in, students may bring their school items if they want to drop those off so they don't have all those things to carry on the first day of school. Come in, meet the teacher. Parents are free to look at the building, especially if they're new. We can get them a tour of where everything is at. Our lead teachers are working diligently to help plan out the year, planning celebrations, any kind of parties, having those things on the schedule ahead of time so that parents are well aware of programs. The fifth grade graduation, all those dates will be sent out here in the next week or so. Well, actually, a jetliner went out today with a lot of that information on it to update parents on planning. I want to thank the PTO. We've met and they have their agenda set for the year so that parents can be a part of that. They do have, I think it's 3 or 4 times a year, and Kim's not here to help me out, that they have meetings in the school elementary library. So parents, we encourage you to come and be a part of that, to volunteer, to support, to give ideas, and participate. One of the things that the elementary is working on is some celebrations of students. Our goal is 95% attendance, so we are looking at doing a celebration for students who've maintained 95% or higher at semester and end of the year. We are also looking at having honor roll and behavioral awards for grades each quarter. At different levels would pretty much mirror what the high school, middle school does to just honor the academics. And one that we would like to add is just an outstanding growth for students who maybe have a personal goal but don't attain those A's or B's or C's, but they really are working hard. And so one of the celebrations we would like to have is just outstanding growth, whether that's behavior or academic, to honor students for that work that they're doing each day. And then the rest, we're talking about our curriculum, making sure we have our materials ordered and everything here to ready to start on 14th.
May I ask one more question? I missed.
Absolutely.
Was it August 9th? The field?
August 12th.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yes. The teachers will be here that evening from 4:30 to 6:30.
Mrs. Ish?
Well, I just want to thank our maintenance crew. I'm not here as much yet, for sure, but every time you come in, you can see them hard at work and evidence of everything you're doing, getting the school ready for us to come back. It's nice to appreciate all of the work that they do. I also appreciate all the work over the summer that's going into ordering our curriculum and supplies. That keeps coming in and we're inventorying it. I know a lot of people are putting a lot of work into getting ready for everyone to return. So we appreciate that. August 5th is registration from 3 to 6, and this is going to be for K-12, so it'll all be on the same day. So we will also have Power School online registration opening before that. I believe is it 22nd. So we'll have that online registration. So that can get most of the paperwork, the online paperwork done prior to even coming, but at registration we will have pictures and people can be around the building, try out your lockers, get your locker combinations. And the schedules will be available as well in online registration for the summer. So students will be able to see their schedules too. If anybody needs anything, I have summer office hours, so I just encourage everyone to call, come in, send me an email, and I'm happy to meet or do anything I can for anyone who comes up in the summer. Hope that all of our teachers, kids and families are enjoying a really nice summer.
Are there pictures for middle school too? All right, maintenance. I think maybe you might have something from Todd.
I do.
Okay,
I joked that I was gonna have a hard hat and a tool belt on and someone threatened to take my picture, so Here we go. Todd said summer cleaning is on schedule, and the hangar floor has turned out great. It's got a wonderful shine to it. As far as the 400 wing, it's pretty much complete. We do have the certificate of occupancy, so we're moving teachers in, getting furniture around and straightened out. So that's a big plus. As far as the pool, the painting issues have been resolved. We're painting the ceiling painting is complete and are working on the walls now. Scaffolding has been removed. The locker rooms are 80% complete, and the pool people will start soon. Elementary HVAC, classroom and hallway work continues. Main piping is complete. Sheet metal is complete. And the ceilings will start going back in this week, and the new rooftop unit has been set. Any questions? See Todd.
Thanks, Lon. All right, we'll move on to superintendent's report.
I've got a couple of things tonight. First of all, I want to read a letter. This comes from the Indiana Association of School Business Officials. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Indiana Association of School Business Officials, I am very pleased to announce that Dawn Cook has completed the required courses for the Indiana ASBO certification program. Her certification designation is Assistant Chief Business Officer, which required 85 hours of instruction. This certification acknowledges the experience and knowledge that Dawn has regarding the school business management arena. Indiana ASBO created the certification program to recognize the professional achievements of its members. To qualify for certification, an individual must be a member and fulfill all the personal, ethical, and professional requirements established by the Indiana Association of School Business Officials. Dawn is an outstanding individual who is a credit to the Adams Central Community Schools and Indiana ASBO. And I second that in my short tenure with Adams Central. Now, a couple things to report. First of all, I've always made it a practice as a superintendent. I know I've been here like 6 weeks, but whenever people would present at a board meeting, I would try to respond at the next board meeting. And at the June meeting, London and Zach shared how they feel that Adams Central let them down. And I want you to say that as educators, we take that to heart. We really, truly do, whether that's students, parents, or the community. I know I've only been here for about 6 weeks, but I can assure you that everybody I've met so far doesn't get up in the morning thinking, who can I let down? They are passionate, they're caring, and they want the best for our students. Now, I know tonight that rings hollow. I'm well aware. Because we've learned. It happened, and we have to own it. But I am confident in my short time here that this shortfall was not in any way a result of malice. I was made aware of the situation for the first time on May 5th. I was meeting with the school board. They were asking me to come fill in for a while. I learned at that time that the prosecutor's office was involved. They were addressing the allegations. So during the month of June, I met with 16 other people who are involved in this. Had a total of 28 meetings and phone calls. And by going back through my calendar, I've spent about 14 hours on this. 4.5 of those were with Mr. Smith. I don't share that to lift me up. The board charged me to look into it, and that's what I did. But what I want you to know is that that was taken serious. The hardest part of this and other school situations is by nature, people want to know what's going on. I get it. Unfortunately, this situation and most school situations, they involve students and staff. And by the federal rules, staff, administrators, board members, they can't speak publicly about those situations. There are rules about disclosing discipline situations involving staff or students. And we can't share those. I would also like to address a misconception that Heather related to a little bit before. I will begin by saying this is not just Adams Central. Most schools, here's the misconception. The misconception is that the school board should investigate and look into things when people feel that's necessary. And I understand that. The reality of it is, for the school board to do the job you elected them to, they can't do the investigation. And here's why. If the information comes forward, and there are disciplinary actions for staff, those staff and administrators have due process. And that due process ends up with this board. If this board does the investigating, they can't serve in that role. It might help. It's like jury tampering. The people that sit on the jury in the court aren't the ones that were out doing the investigation. The board's job is to tell administrators, this is what we want to learn and this is what we want you to look into, which is exactly what they told me in May. And then we work through the chain of command and we try to gather information. I'd like to promise that going forward, we will never again disappoint anyone. That's not going to happen. We will fail you from time to time. And I'll just right out the gate apologize for that because we're human. But here's what I can tell you tonight, and I'm a short timer here. But as long as I'm here, I can promise you that when we fall short as a district or individually, we will own it. We'll seek forgiveness and we'll make adjustments either personally or as a district based on what we learned so we can be better. That's the message I've heard tonight. We are better than this. So what do we learn from this? And how do we become better? Now, to a different topic. We have to build a budget. Many of you, but probably not all of you, because a lot of people don't follow the legislation like some of us do. But one of the big things in Indianapolis this year is people wanted to pay less property tax. I'm with you. Okay, I pay property tax. But property taxes, as you know, pay for county services, schools, roads, city services, in some extent. That's what property taxes go for. So if people pay less taxes, there's less services. And I will tell you that each of those agencies can provide less. They can say, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. That can be done. But you know what? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty used to all the things I have. Decent paved road, even though I live in the country, and some of those things like that. Those are paid with those property taxes. Dawn and I have started to dig into the numbers. we have basically two funds, an education fund and an operations fund. And I can explain all that to you someday if you want to stop by the office and you have 3 or 4 hours. The operations fund is the one that's funded with property tax. And because of Senate Bill 1, the first estimate is we're going to get about $250,000 less dollars. Over in the education fund, that's the one where the state takes your income tax and then divvies some back to the schools. We were excited. The first number we saw was we're going to get $400,000 more dollars. Now, in the scope of our budget, that's not a lot, but that's more. However, as typically happens in Indianapolis, a couple years ago, they said parents shouldn't have to pay for textbooks, so they said, don't charge them, we'll give you money for textbooks. And they did. Now, they didn't give us enough, so we had to use the education fund to pay the balance. But in the budget this year, that textbook money was a separate fund. They put it in the education fund. So we were getting about $200,000 through the textbook fund. They put that over in the education fund, so that $400,000 we're getting, yeah, that's only now $200,000 because we were already getting the $200,000 for the textbooks. So, education fund might go up about $200,000. Operations fund is going to go down about $250,000. In round numbers, that's basically level. These things I'm going to say now are no different here than they are at your house. The utilities are going up. NIPSCO's put in some high rate increase. Supplies, equipment are higher. We'd all like a little higher paycheck. Health insurance costs are going up. And then there's a whole another series of deductions that I'm not even going to go into because of the time. But Dawn and I have many hours ahead of us to try to sort that out. We'll get down in the weeds and try to figure that out. And how can we minimize the damage from those numbers? Now, Adams Central has been very careful with their financial planning over the years. The district has not spent recklessly. The boards have done a great job. We have some money in our rainy day fund. It's like having a savings account at home. The school has one. They call it a rainy day fund. And it's there when the revenue's not stable. Guess we're there, aren't we? And I want to say we're entering another time with reduced revenue, and it's another time. This is not new for schools. When you live based on what they do at Indianapolis, it's always a bit of a guess as to what's going to happen. So as a district, we'll do, like districts have done before, you do at home, you have to ask the question, what do we have to do? Not what do we want to do or what would we like to do? What is it that we have to do? And let's keep this going. So, how do you try to save a few dollars here and there? Well, I'm on a weekly Zoom with superintendents all over the state. It's pretty common for 75 to 90 superintendents to be on that Zoom on Friday mornings. And they all throw out ideas. What if we did this? We could save a little money. If we did this, we could save a little money. Some of the things on that list hurt a lot. Some of those things on the list maybe don't hurt as much. But it's nice to have all these different ideas. Examples, and there's probably 40 or 50 on my list, but things like most schools allow people to use the buildings for things. Well, if we have to keep custodians on and we have to turn the lights on, does that mean that has to cost to use it? We can move money from the education fund into the operations fund. Now, you can't go the other way, but you could move. But what does that do to your education fund? Now that's short. So that's probably not a real good idea, but it can be done. You've seen in Fort Wayne, high school students that live within 2 miles of a high school have to walk to school or get their own way. There is a school in the state of Indiana that went to a 4-day school week. I'm thinking that would be a great place to start if we need to reduce. Because at the end of the day, I'm well aware of that as a school. We are childcare. For many of you, we take care of your kids during the day and you're at work. Other things, rebid insurance, rebid trash collection, try to do all kinds of things. So, where do we start? That's a good question. Board, you'll get to decide where we get to start. Let me make some suggestions. And the first one's going to sound really strange. Dan's going to love it. But the first idea would be go borrow money. Now, if funds run a little tight at home, that's probably not the first thing you do, if you can help it. But because school funding is so strange, the money you pay your debts with is a different fund. So we could actually go out and borrow money to buy a bus, because we could pay that out of the debt service fund where we have some more flexibility instead of the operations fund. And you're thinking, that's crazy. I agree, absolutely. But that's what the state has painted for us. If they do delay, and you may have seen on the news, they're talking about not sending us our title money right away. That's the nice part about having some rainy day money. We could take money from there until that money comes and not have to cancel those programs. Wonder what happens with our bills if we, in the cooling season, raise the thermometer 2 degrees, and in the heating season, lower it 2 degrees. I don't even know. It's just another idea that was shared. And I'm sure Todd could figure that out for us. Anytime somebody leaves, you have to ask, do we need to replace that person? We have bus routes. Can we take the kids we're currently bringing to school and bring them to school on less routes? And actually, Dan has told me we can do that. An interesting thing, if you go back, and you can help me better than I, it wasn't me, but there was a time when here in town, the county buses would come on their way to school through town and stop and pick up groups of kids because they had room on their buses. And then I think it was during Mr. Pettibone's time, they started stopping at different houses. They had money, and it was a nice thing to do. Well, Dan has told me we could go back to the county buses have room. As they're driving into town, they could stop at select places, pick up some kids, and come on to school. We save a bus and a driver. And the nice part about this is we have a driver who just resigned, so we don't have to look at somebody and say, you don't have a job. A lot of people say, well, you delay the purchase of buses. Okay. Adams Central hasn't bought a bus for 2 years already to try to save money. Now, Dan and his team, they're really good. And our buses pass inspection, and they're running well, but we have buses that are 16 years old. The state used to tell us when they got to be 12, you needed to get rid of them. But we're getting through. Regardless of where we start, we have to work from the fact that the bulk of our expenses are people. And how do we still provide our services to the best that we can? Now, this all sounds really difficult. And it is. I won't lie to you. Dawn and I have a mountain to climb. But we're not alone. Every Every agency that uses tax dollars is facing this same thing. But I want to come back to the fact that Adams Central financially is in good shape. There are schools that are in some serious trouble with this change. Adams Central is not right now. So we don't have to make drastic changes right now, but we need to start figuring out how to spend a little less money. I also want you to know that the administration and maintenance have already been talking about how do we redo our long-term look at funds and maybe stretch it out farther, or maybe there's some things we don't do to keep us going. Dawn has been a huge, huge help to me. Again, haven't been here long. Usually when you're in the school, you're immersed in this all the time. I haven't been, but Dawn has helped. We've gone to meetings. We've been on Zoom meetings. And we have a budget to do. Now, I know this is a lot to digest, and I'm happy to talk to anyone about it that likes numbers. And tonight's not the only time we're going to deal with this. We've got a couple months here to put a budget together, and we will have a budget. And we will maintain just as much as we possibly can. But I wanted to get that out there tonight because by the August meeting, we have to start having a budget hearing and all kinds of other things. Just wanted the board to know what we've learned so far. And if you have some questions or some thoughts, or you're sitting there going, why am I doing this?
Anything else?
I think I'll stop with that.
All right, thank you. Cord, did you have anything else that, any other matters? One update that I didn't think of earlier to mention, just as far as superintendent search, we did do first interviews last week. We're meeting this week to have further discussion on second interviews, but we're not rushing the process. We're trying to make sure that it's the correct person that's selected for the position. So we do not have dates yet for our second interviews, but that's where we're at with that. Our next meeting is on Tuesday, August 12th, and it's at 7 p.m. here. And we need a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you for coming tonight.